We think of grief as a visitor who arrives only with death. A somber guest who knocks on our door when a life is extinguished. But grief is older, more constant. It is the echo of all the lives we live within a single life. We grieve for people who are still breathing. The friendships that dissolved into silence. The loves that became strangers. The versions of people we knew who no longer exist. And we grieve for ourselves. For the versions of us we had to leave behind. The idealistic dreamer of youth. The person we were before pain taught us caution. The future we meticulously planned that never arrived. Each of these lost selves is a ghost that walks with us. We carry a silent graveyard within, filled with futures that died. Identities that are gone. Possibilities that closed. It is the invisible weight of what once was. Reflective pause. Psychologically, grief is the process of adapting to loss. Any loss. The brain, which craves patterns and predictability, registers the absence as an error in the system. The person, the dream, the identity. They were here. Now they are not. The map of our world needs to be redrawn. The famous stages of grief. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance are not a linear path. They are a whirlwind, an ocean of emotions we visit and revisit in waves. And this applies to all forms of loss. Grief for a lost self can be particularly disorienting. There is no funeral. There are no social rituals. It is a private loss, often unacknowledged. You look in the mirror and do not recognize the person staring back. This disconnection, this loss of identity, is profoundly unsettling. Our sense of self is a continuous narrative. When a significant part of that narrative is amputated, The loss of a career. The end of a relationship. The diagnosis of an illness. The story breaks. Grief is the work of stitching a new narrative, one that integrates the loss, one that acknowledges the scar. Pause. Allow yourself to feel the texture of this emotion. Do not fight it. Observe how it arrives. Sometimes it is a wave of sadness that knocks you down in the middle of an ordinary day. A song on the radio, a familiar scent, and suddenly you are back in the loss. Other times it is anger, a fury against the injustice of the loss, against time, against yourself for not having done more, for not having been different. Anger is the armor of grief. It is pain that is too strong to be felt as sadness. So it dresses itself in fire. And there is the emptiness. The moments when you feel nothing. Just a gray numbness. And that can be the most frightening of all. The fear that the capacity to feel has been lost forever, along with what is gone. Grief is not a problem to be solved. It is a landscape to be traversed. It is a process of feeling, not a fixing. Society rushes us to get over it. But grief is not something you get over. It is something you carry. And with time, we learn to carry it in a way that allows us to live again. Long pause. And then, in the heart of griefs, winter, a subtle shift occurs. It is not the end of the pain. It is the beginning of a new relationship with it. The awakening is the understanding that grief is the other side of love. The pain you feel is proportional to the love you had. For the person, the dream, the version of yourself, grief is the proof of your love. It is your tribute. You realize that the attempt to erase the pain would also erase the beauty of what was lost. And you do not want to forget. You want to honor. Acceptance is not saying, I'm okay with this. It is saying, this is what is. It is acknowledging the reality of the loss without resistance. It is allowing sadness and joy to coexist. You can cry for the loss in the morning and laugh with a friend in the afternoon. Both emotions are true. Both are part of the process. Grief, you discover, does not diminish you. It excavates you. It deepens you. It creates a space within you that can eventually be filled with more compassion, more wisdom, more life. Pause. Transformation is the act of carrying grief instead of being carried by it. It is finding ways to honor the past while living in the present. It begins with rituals, writing a letter to the one or the thing you lost, creating a small altar, talking about them, keeping the memory alive, not as an open wound, but as a loving presence. It is the act of reinvesting in life, not as a betrayal of what was lost, but as the greatest tribute. Living fully is the proof that the love they gave you or the dream you had mattered. It shaped you. It propelled you. You learned to tell a new story. A story that includes the loss, but is not defined by it. The loss becomes a chapter, not the whole book. A chapter that gave depth and meaning to all those that came after. And you discover that joy does not replace sadness. It sits beside it. And that is okay. Pause. Healing is not the return to who you were before the loss. That person is gone. Healing is the emergence of who you have become. Because of it, it is the understanding that scars are not signs of weakness, but of survival. They prove that you loved deeply, that you lived bravely, and that you were hurt. But you healed. Grief connects us to our shared humanity and makes us kinder, more empathetic. It teaches us about the preciousness of time and the beauty of the present moment. The leaves that fell were not in vain. They became part of the earth. They nourished the roots. They allowed spring to arrive again. Different, but still beautiful. What are you grieving today? Allow yourself to honor that loss. And know that in doing so, you are also honoring the love from which it was born. And in that love, there is eternal life.